Go Wolves, go! Did you know that here at Adventure, we're the physiotherapists that work with Northwest Polytechnic's Wolves athletes? We've been doing this for a few years, and we really love working with the athletic population. One of the most common things that we treat with the Wolves athletes, in some of them more than others, are concussions. And so there's been some changes recently to the recommendations on acute concussion management that I thought that I would share today. Number one thing across the board, when you have a concussion, you need to see a concussion specialist, so either a physio or a doctor who has been trained in concussion management as soon as you possibly can. We used to tell athletes, we want you to avoid pretty much everything after you've had a concussion. You need to go lay in a dark room, limit all your sensory input, and basically just let your brain rest for a very long time. Now we know that there's actually not a lot of things that we want you to avoid. What we want you to avoid is an increase in your symptoms. And so whatever your concussion symptoms are, so let's say dizziness is your main symptom. If your symptom at rest is, say, a 2 out of 10, we don't want you to do anything that increases your dizziness to beyond a 4 out of 10. But as long as you're staying within that threshold, you're okay. So, for example, things like looking at your phone, listening to music, even really light activity, not going for runs, not jumping back into your sport, but light activity, it's okay as long as it doesn't increase your symptoms. We've actually got a lot of newer research coming out that's showing that letting the brain be exposed to these things within that 2-point symptom range is helpful for healing long term. The one thing that we do want you to avoid is getting a second impact. We know that that is incredibly dangerous for the brain. If a previous concussion hasn't healed, which also, just because your symptoms are gone doesn't mean your concussion's gone, FYI. But if you get another impact before your brain is fully healed, that's where we start to run into major issues. So yes, we don't want you going back to your sport right away, and we don't want you being in any situation where you could potentially get another knock to the head. But other than that, the day-to-day things, exposure to light and noise, sound, and looking at your phone and reading, all of these things are actually helpful for the brain to heal as long as they're not increasing your symptoms. So if you get a concussion, you need to see a concussion specialist, which a lot of us are here at Adventure, as soon as possible, and we would love to get you back to your sport as soon as possible.